You think replaying conversations means you're insecure, but psychology says your mind is doing something far more complex than obsessing, because when you revisit a moment again and again, you're not just remembering it, you're actually saying, scanning it with emotional precision, trying to understand tone, intention, meaning, and every tiny detail your brain flagged as important, even if you didn't realize it in the moment, which is why these replays feel so vivid, so sticky, and so impossible to turn off once they're activated. What you're doing isn't overthinking, it's a form of metacognitive awareness, the kind of internal feedback loop your brain uses to refine social intelligence and correct future outcomes. And while it feels heavy and repetitive, research shows, and that people who reflect deeply after interactions usually exhibit higher emotional accuracy, stronger empathy, and a more nuanced understanding of human behavior, which means your overthinking is actually a sign of psychological depth, not weakness. The first thing happening when you replay a conversation is something called cognitive residue, where the emotional weight of an interaction lingers because your nervous system didn't fully process it in the moment, so your mind brings it by sive and interaction lingers back like an unfinished task waiting to be completed. You might replay the way someone paused, or the slight shift in their voice, or even your own response that felt off. But these micro moments are your brain's way of collecting data for future clarity, and people with high social sensitivity experience this more intensely simply because their internal radar picks up more signals than the average person. Then comes the predictive processing phase, the part where your mind runs alternate versions of the same moment, imagining what could have happened if you'd said one different sentence, or used a calmer tone, or expressed your boundary more. Clearly, this isn't self-blame. It's mental simulation, and psychology says humans with strong introspective skills naturally simulate scenarios to strengthen their future responses. Your mind isn't punishing you, it's rehearsing. You're upgrading yourself without even being aware of it. Next is emotional coding, the stage where your brain connects what happened in the conversation with your internal emotional maps, which explain why something small can feel disproportionately big because your brain links it to past experiences, unresolved feelings, patterns you keep repeating without noticing. And once this emotional coding begins, the replay feels louder, thicker, heavier. But that's only because your mind is trying to organize meaning, not amplify anxiety. And the people who do this are statistically more attuned to emotional nuance. Another layer is something called social monitoring, where your brain revisits conversations to ensure you didn't unintentionally hurt someone, cross a line, or come off in a way you didn't intend. This comes from empathy, not insecurity, and it's common in people who value harmony and emotional accuracy. It's why you replay what you said and how they reacted and the rhythm of the conversation itself, because you're actually scanning for alignment, making sure your words matched your intentions. And finally, your mind replays conversations because of self-referential thinking, a default mode network function that activates during quiet moments when your brain is free to review, refine, and reorganize experiences into meaning. This is what deep thinkers do naturally. They zoom out, they analyze, they connect dots, others don't even notice, and it becomes a form of mental quality control, a way to make sure you grow from what you go through instead of just moving on without understanding it. So when your brain replays conversations for days, it isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's proof that your internal world is rich and active and responsive. Your mind cares about how you show up. Your interactions matter to you. Your empathy is working overtime because you want to get things right, and that level of emotional awareness is rare. If this describes you, hit subscribe because your mind works in ways most people will never fully understand. And the more you learn, the more you'll realize that nothing about you is too much. You're simply wired for depth, not surface.